Hey everyone, we're back again with another episode of Lessons of the Woods by 10 Point Whitetails. I'm your host, Dylan Porter, and with me I have our co-host, Kyle Weber. And today we're going to be talking, well, we're sponsored by Wall Hanger Taxidermy of Cable, Wisconsin. It's late at night tonight. It's about 10:40, and we're going to do a podcast because we don't have a lot of time these days. It's deer season, things are going on. We're going to try to keep our energy up while we go through this. If we say anything stupid, forgive us. We've been hunting for 5 days, averaging between 4 and 5 hours of sleep a night. This morning, we went to bed at 3 a.m.
Yep. How many hours of sleep did you get?
I slept in till 9, so I got 6.
Good.
That was good for me.
I was out the door at 7:30.
What is wrong with you?
Lots of things, but
How are you functioning?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, this is gonna be a good episode. This
It's gonna
might
be
the best
great.
one yet.
Yes.
So
What are we talking about today, Dylan Porter?
we are talking about
Accessing.
accessing your hunting land.
Okay.
That's the
All
best
right.
way to do it.
Perfect.
And if you're wondering where we're at, we are in a place hopefully we can use more than once. We'll see if Dad ever lets us back after today. We're at my dad's cabin, about a half mile back in the swamp. If you go 2 directions, you will walk 2 to 4 miles before finding civilization. And in the spring, you will find waist-deep water. There's wolves, there's bears. My younger brother shot a 529-pound bear 2 years ago.
Wow.
I think 2 years ago. Out of this cabin. That bear was on the deck of the cabin the day before. So, yeah. So here we are. We're safe.
Lock the door.
Don't sleepwalk tonight.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, we're here to talk about accessing your hunting land, because you have to condition the deer to get used to your access, or you have to hide your access. There's all sorts of ways to go about this. But I'm going to let you lead us off, and then we'll see where we end up.
So, a couple things with access that really matter is not busting the deer off the property, not pushing the deer off the property, and the goal would be to access the property with zero intrusion on the deer, where they're bedded, where they're eating. Common mistake for everyone is they want to hunt the middle of the property. They have a 40-acre parcel or 80 acres. They want to hunt the middle. But it's a better tactic to hunt the perimeter. Short walks in. Your access have to be clear and clean, and let the deer be bedded and inside and work their way out. And as they work their way out off the property, obviously you hope to have an interaction with the deer. But you don't have, if you have 80 acres, you don't have to walk in a quarter mile right in the middle and hope to see a deer. You want to set your property up so bedding is in the middle and they work their way out towards you.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure to stay away from the bedding areas. You want to stay out of sight. You don't want them to hear you. There's tricks to the trails. Old logging roads are a great thing to use. Your four-wheeler trail. That's great access to keep you quiet. And usually those trails kind of have a brushy side, so it helps with a visual barrier. So
walk us through what you did at Wits End to, at least for your big food plot, to give you access to that food plot.
Well, the food plot was designed to be on the downhill side. So when I'm parked at the gate and you walk up the trail, I'm going up elevation. I'm going up a hill the entire time. And then I walk up, I come off the ATV trail, I come over, and then I get to the base of my tree stand of our Titan blind. And as I climb that ladder, I am now into the blind, looking over the crest of the hill, and I'm looking downhill at the food plot. And when it was just woods, I had a buddy stand in the middle of what would now be the big food plot, and you could see my truck where I was parked.
Yeah.
You could see the truck. And I was like, so from the truck, walking up here, you can see me all day long. So I built a little bit of a berm with some debris from clearing that food plot. Built a berm. It's a little high right now, 6-7 feet, but it'll decompose.
Over time.
Yep. So that way, at any point, a nice buck or doe where the fawns can be out in this food plot, and they're visual. There's a visual barrier the entire time. I can walk in there. So now if I'm quiet, I've taken their eyes away, their ears away. I can get up in the stand, and I'm behind the tree stand at the point where they could actually see me. So at no point can they see me and hopefully not hear me, and I can get in and out. And that works both ways. Getting in is 60% of it.
Yeah.
If you bust all the deer and they all run away, they know you're in there. You educate them with your access, they'll avoid you like the plague. But the other 40%, or 70-40, depending on how you want to do that, is the exit. Those deer are in that food plot. They're grazing. They're meandering through the whole food plot, going to get the woody browse and stuff. You need to get out. You can't harvest an animal. It's dark. Can't make a good shot. You have to get out of there without telling them all where you just were sitting.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to get down and get out, and their eyesight's considerably better than ours at night.
Absolutely. If you look at their pupil size difference, it's insane.
Yeah. So just because you can't see them doesn't mean they can't see you and know who you are, what you're doing. So you want to have that visual barrier, not only to get in, but also getting out. Because if you can get out without ruining or educating those deer, you can... if you can get in and out without educating all of them deer and that you were just in there, your hunting pressure goes down, the deer feel less pressured, they feel a little more natural, and they'll keep coming out early.
Yeah.
If you walk out of there and spook them out, and I hear people say, well, you make a coyote noise. You take a rock and you throw it as far away the other way you can see, it'll spook them out of there. Some say just get down. Anytime that tail comes up, it can be...
I've never heard some of those before, and I've heard a lot of stuff.
Yeah, just hold a big rock in your pocket and throw it out by them. That'll spook them.
No.
Anytime that tail comes up, anytime that doe blows, stomps her feet, anything, you've not only just taught her, you've taught everyone around her.
Yeah.
And that buck sees you move, so throwing a rock, if that buck sees you move, now that tree is pegged. They know that tree was that, and they're gonna second guess that tree
every time they come in.
Yeah. So you want to slip in, but more importantly, you want to slip out.
Yeah.
And if you can get in and out and not educate the deer, that is the key. And obviously, there's a million things that are involved with access. You got to have wind direction. You want to be
wind direction, scent control,
and your visual barrier, your noise barrier. I don't think it's crazy now with technology these days to take a Makita, Ryobi, steel battery leaf blower, and before September, go in there and leaf blow your access.
No, not at all. I've seen guys that rake their access.
Yep.
If you rake it, you get rid of the crunchy leaves. If you're going to walk in a long ways, especially in an oak woods, the deer will hear you coming for a mile. Now, if it's dark, you're not carrying a flashlight, you're not talking, you can get by with carrying a flashlight, but if it's good enough where you can't see, you're not talking, the deer, if he can't see you clearly, he doesn't know if you're a clumsy moose or a person. Okay?
Yep.
So, on the other side of the highway here to the north, almost straight north of us from where we're at, actually pretty much exactly straight north, I think. That way. Dad put up a tree stand for me when I was 12 years old. It's a nice big nice big box stand. It's not a blind. It's a 6-foot hexagon, enclosed from here down. So you sit in it, and it's like a tank turret, and you can shoot. It's got a platform. You can shoot 360 degrees around you. You'll never drop the gun. Awesome stands. Love this design. A little bit complicated to make. Awesome stand design. Permanent. And it's about 6 feet from the property line. Now, on the other side of the property line is 2,000 acres of state land. Swamp. A lot of guys can't hunt it because it's just so thick up there. And I got, at the time when the stand was built, I got a shooting lane to the north and to the south. Kind of an opening onto the state land where I can shoot, and you can hunt on state land. And then I'd have a shooting lane to the west going to my dad's deer fence. So I can cover anything that's going on our property. I'm going to see it. And we have a half mile that I can cover with a rifle. Pretty much a half mile. Some of those shots get pretty long. I never end up taking any shots that long, but I can still see it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So our MO, when we go hunting, our wild deer are used to four-wheelers. We drive a four-wheeler around a fence line daily, pretty much daily. Whether we're checking traps, checking the fence, doing whatever, we're always out there on four-wheelers. We put, no joke, probably 1,000 miles a year on a four-wheeler every year. And we have 4 of them. I mean, we are running four-wheelers all the time. So we put all these miles on. Every wild deer out in the area is used to hearing a four-wheeler. There's been times where we've been bow hunting and you'll see the four-wheeler go by, deer walks out of the woods 5 minutes later. I've shot deer in rifle season. I can still hear the four-wheeler of the person who dropped me off. They're not even gone. I'm in the stand, they leave. We don't make any noise in the stands, but they're used to hearing the four-wheelers. So we like to get out there half hour before daylight, if we can. If it gets light enough to shoot at 6:30, we like to be on stand at 5:30. So it's a half hour before sunrise.
Yep.
Get out there in the dark. But what would happen on that tree stand? We'd have people come from the Twin Cities area, and they'd come hunt the state land. And they're free to do so. But we'd be on stand. The deer would not know we're there because we drove four-wheeler. Now deer don't do math. They know a four-wheeler came, four-wheeler left. They don't know how many people are on there. And then we get guys walking by. If it gets light at 6:30, they would show up at 6:15. 7 guys in a row, all with flashlights, talking the entire way. And and I've been sitting in my tree stand for 45 minutes, and they're 100 yards away, and I can see them. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Mm-hmm. We can shoot in 15 minutes. You're not going to make it.
Yep.
So they scared all the deer away every time they went. But if they had gone 20 minutes earlier and not talked, deer don't know if that's a moose. They don't know what it is. If they don't see you, granted, so you gotta think about visuals. You gotta think about scent control. But audio, they don't always pick it up. So there's all sorts of different options. But if you can educate your deer to your habits, that's better than educating them to your mistakes.
Well, and a thing you have to, to think about deer, you have to condition them.
Yes.
Everything I do is the same all the time, and that's what you're doing. You're conditioning your deer. If you at all times are on your four-wheeler, let's say you're on your four-wheeler on your property twice a day.
Yep.
You're checking your fence. You're driving around to do daily chores.
Yep.
That deer has heard, avoided, and dealt with a four-wheeler going by twice a day for an entire year. So 365 days, 800 some days, 800 plus times he's been interacting with that four-wheeler and never been hurt.
Yep.
Never had a reason to. Yeah, they run, they trot off, tail up maybe.
But the four-wheeler's never chased them.
Yep. They've gotten no pressure from that. So the first time they heard that four-wheeler, they probably did bail.
Yep.
But the 800 and whatever time now, they're conditioned to it. So they're going to step off. They're going to get cozy. They're maybe not going to move. They're going to watch you go by.
Yep. But
conditioning these deer by being consistent on your behalf is super important, and that's exactly what that four-wheeler situation is all the deer herd is conditioned to a four-wheeler.
Yeah.
They can't count. One person comes in, or 2 people come in, one person leaves. They don't know that. They can't figure that out.
No.
In situations where you don't have a mother, father, brother, family friend that can haul you out there, that doesn't give you the opportunity, that doesn't give you the excuse to do it kind of half-heartedly.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent, because whatever you're doing consistently will condition those deer to that.
And even if that thing is driving your four-wheeler to your stand and parking it at the base, deer aren't afraid of four-wheelers most of the time. There are some areas where they maybe are a little more paranoid, but if they're used to seeing a four-wheeler parked here or a tractor parked there, it's equipment.
Yep.
They don't know what it is.
And we're getting off the access thing, but I think it's really important. These pieces of equipment in these fields.
Yeah.
A tractor just sits there. 365 days that tractor they've seen that tractor and it's not done anything to them.
Yeah.
They don't know if that tractor has a person in it with a rifle. So again, that's conditioning. It's super important to do that. My access, I have rules on the property which involve conditioning. I don't access the property if I'm doing summer chores, projects out there, or anything like that. I don't do it until 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Because in essence, when am I getting out of my tree stand? About 10.
Yeah.
When am I getting in my tree stand? About 2. But after those 2 points, between 2 and 10 o'clock that next morning, I want it quiet. Because when I hunt, I've conditioned it to be quiet during those times. And that's everything I've done with access is to be quiet going in. I would love to have the luxury of somebody drop me off. And I considered it on my other property was like to go check the camera and go check the stand and check the bait. I drove my truck up, I parked it, I was in there for 5 seconds, got in my truck, drove away.
Yep.
If I was going to hunt that stand today, I would ask my wife or somebody to bring me there, pull up in the vehicle, stop it. I'd get out, go climb up in that tree, and that vehicle leave.
Yeah.
It's the same conditioning.
Same thing that's been going on. Same thing with the four-wheeler. Same thing with everything. With your going in and out at those different times. And another thing you could do, too, depending on how well you trust your area, but you could actually take in... If you're going to have a pickup there... If you're going to have a vehicle sit there for 6 hours while you're hunting, go park a vehicle there, have somebody bring you home, and leave it there overnight. Yep. Now they're getting used to... That's there all the time. It doesn't bother me. Yep. So... you got to factor in noise. That's number one. If you can rake your trail, that's awesome.
It seems silly.
Four-wheeler trail.
It seems silly to be out there with your steel leaf blower in September and blowing all those leaves and sticks away, but you will be silent.
Yep.
So, sorry.
If you ever hear a buck walk through, if you ever squirrel, we've all heard this.
300-pound squirrels all over the place.
Man,
all over the place.
It sounds like it's 300-400 pounds, and it's walking around on the acorns. Oh my gosh, it's just around the oak leaves and acorn, looking for acorns. It's just crazy. They're so loud. So if you can avoid that, that's great. So we got sound, we got visuals. Scent is important, and I think that's a whole podcast itself.
Yep.
Getting ready for scent control. But you got to watch your scent. You got to watch the wind. So you got to stand on the north end of your property that is specific for one type of wind. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So that's a straight south wind. So in our weather podcast, we'll talk about cold fronts and stuff like that and the common wind direction, but there's always a south wind. So the north end I don't have access to. I don't want to blow through the whole property just to access that north stand, but that's kind of a chunk that I can't readily get to. Mm-hmm. So what I have is I have the railroad grade cut from... the road comes through. So it's a hard packed gravel based road with limited trees and sticks. So that's actually a great road to walk. And it's flat, so I don't have to, get wore out. But it's meant for south wind. Now the south wind isn't an ideal weather situation, but it is probably in the best location for bedding and having a lot of deer available there. So if I walk that grade, I get up in my blind. They are downwind of me, they are upwind of me, so I would be smelling them technically. Yeah. But then my scent actually gets dumped off the back of me. Now I'm in an enclosed blind also, so that also helps with scent control.
Absolutely.
But that scent from my truck or where I'm parked down the grade all gets dumped over a big wetland bog, and yes, deer can go out there, but they're not out there. They're not living out there. So my scent gets all dumped out that way, which is really good. So I have a hard base to walk on, flat, easy access on my end of it, and then it puts all my scent off of a non-deer area, and I'm downwind of the deer. So it's a great spot to be tricky. If a buck was hitting that foo plot hard and I'd never seen him anywhere else, I would specifically wait for that south wind and go in. Yeah. And I would use that. And that's a rifle stand, and that same thing there. We got trails going each way to cover some serious ground, but that stand will get sat in twice in a year compared to the other two. That will be
your go-to.
There'll be a couple 3 dozen, 4 dozen sits in each one. That north end one will be once or twice. That'll be everything has to be perfect. It'll be key, and it's a very aggressive move to try to harvest an animal. So if it's a specific deer that's just being tough, I'm going to be ultra aggressive in that situation. So but you have to have options too, because the wind doesn't always blow the same way.
The wind never blows the way you want it to when you need it to, for sure. So yeah, Time wise, I think we're doing all right. We got a few more minutes, maybe.
I got one story about access, and it's really, this has kind of turned into a conditioning situation. But my brother convinced me to try to do bow hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I had done a couple gun seasons at that point, but he's like, you should bow hunt. It's awesome. Okay, so he taught me how to shoot a bow, put me in a ladder stand in the yard, and practice shooting at a target with the angle, and he went up and set up a tree stand with a bait and a camera, and we had a nice little buck coming in. He did all the work for me. God bless him for all of that. But what would happen is my brother would drive me out on the four-wheeler and drop me off. And I hunted, I think, 2 or 3 times that way, but when we'd check the bait or check the camera, we'd drive out there with the four-wheeler, go and check it, and come out. He's like, if you want to hunt this deer any longer than this weekend, you have to drive yourself out there. Not knowing what I was doing, I was driving down this path, down this old logging road, parking the four-wheeler at my trail, at my access, and I walked straight in. It got to the point with the camera that every night I didn't sit, he was in there at shooting hours. Every time I did sit, he didn't show up.
Huh.
It got to the point where he was showing up 10, 20 minutes after I left. And at that point in life, giving deer this much credit was crazy, but we're like, he's watching us. He's literally right there, sees the four-wheeler, waits till you leave, and knows now it got baited, now there's fresh food there, and now it's safe to go in. And my brother was kind of dumbfounded, and he was thinking about it, and I didn't know what was going on. He goes, what I want you to do, I want you to pull up and stop right there at the trail, right at your access. We don't know where he's at, but this is habit. He goes, then I want you to drive all the way forward, good 100, 150 yards, and I want you to pull it off the logging road and park it, and then walk back and go in.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was right, weather was right, so I went and sat, and I did exactly that. I pulled up and I stopped and I sat there for a minute, and then I drove 150 yards forward, parked it, walked back, got my tree stand. It wasn't a very long sit before it was getting dark, and it was kind of that prime time hour, and then I hear a deer behind me. And I do a full look around the tree. Here's this buck, that buck that we've been watching, walking my trail. My access, because it was snow covered, it was late bow season, and he's walking my access down. Walks in, gets his head in the corn. I make a shot. It was a really good shot, but he ran a long ways. Shaking, first buck, first buck with the bow. All shook up. Go home. I'm like, it worked. And Rob's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it worked. I drove up, and that's what was happening. Was he was parked on the other side of that logging road. And that was his access. He would have to walk onto that grade on that logging road, and he could look left to right, just like you look for a car, and there would always be this four-wheeler parked there. And he would go, nope, and would go back in, I assume, go back in and wait. Yeah. And then he'd see that wheeler go away, and he'd get up and go. And I didn't realize he was going down the access, but makes sense that he would go the easiest way. Yeah, so he wasn't used to a four-wheeler being around. Not parked and sitting there. Yeah. Come in, we would bait, and we would leave. So once that leaves, he knew it was green light. Yeah. But it just we didn't know what was happening, but after it came together, he's walking down my access. He would, if I'd have parked my four-wheeler there and he would have continued his path, he would have had to jump over my four-wheeler. Yeah. So we changed, we adjusted, and thank God my brother thought about driving past it, getting that four-wheeler out of the way, and just out of visual sight. Yeah. And at that point, that four-wheeler didn't even leave, but it was just enough to get him to come in, and it was successful. So conditioning, that access, you can't just pull up, park your four-wheeler there. At wit's end, I have a gate. I have a locked gate. And I parked the truck there, get dressed, and walk in. It adds about 100 yards, 150 yard trek for me to get in. But I'm not touching chains. I'm not opening the gate. Yeah. The noise of the truck is closer to highway noise. Closer to the highway noise than it is even where I would park anyways. So I'm getting another 150 yards farther away from obviously the hunting stand, but it's covered by highway noise and stuff like that. But I don't open that gate and rattle the chain and squeak the hinges and all that stuff. That's just a big alarm going, hey everybody, I'm here. Yeah. And So I walk around that every time. It makes a longer walk, but it's absolutely worth it. And where that tree stand is set up, I'm not penetrating my entire woods. Yeah. I'm really close to the highway. I'm really close to, I don't have to do a quarter-mile walk in. So the property is half a mile deep, and I'm only going 200 yards. So don't overthink your access, but definitely be consistent with whatever you're doing. Pick it, and then the patterns will pop up. That buck, my first bull buck, it was a pattern. Mm-hmm. You guys, when you guys hunt with the four-wheelers, that four-wheeler's running all day. It's a pattern. They get used to that. They get conditioned. So
and you can hear that four-wheeler. And it's a 160 acres, but you can hear it from almost any end of the property if the conditions are right.
Yep.
So they're used to it. There's stories that I've heard guys say, there's like a wooded median in between the interstate sometimes, and they'll have a buck there that just lives in that median. He doesn't run across the road and get hit by cars. He probably leaves occasionally, but it's not like he's going to go get hit by a car.
Yep.
He knows how to live there. Because he hears cars go by all the time. He doesn't care about cars. He was born there. Doesn't bother him. You could shoot him from a car. It's not legal, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
They get conditioned by where they're born.
Yep.
And that's another reason why we haven't discussed it yet. We will one day, but why a resident doe herd is important.
Yep.
But that's a whole other thing. But access is key. If you can't get to your stand without getting noticed, you're just wasting your time.
Yep. And with big mature bucks, the concern is that once you educate them, once you bust them when you're getting out, or once you bust them when you're getting in, you may have ruined your chance for that season.
Yeah.
That buck will catch up and go, well, that wasn't cool. That wasn't normal. Think of it this way. If you go drive down some egg fields, all these cars that drive by and these deer out in the field grazing, they pick their head up, they look, and that car goes by.
Yep.
But now drive by, so try it once. Drive by a field and see all these deer out there and just drive. And go down a half mile and then hit the brakes, turn around and come back to that same field with those same deer. You have the same car, same color, all of the stuff. And hit your brakes. Slow down. Now they're picking their head up.
Yep.
If that car stops or they notice it's slowing down, they're going to bail. Because there's a difference between that car pulling up and stopping.
Yeah.
Or car just zooming by. They don't care if you zoom by at 60 miles an hour. They're not going to freak out about that. Now, they might jump in front of it because they're that way.
Yeah, well.
But if you slowing down is different than what they're conditioned to.
Yeah.
So you have to really work that access into that conditioning mindset. Don't go in early. If you're going to bait, in Wisconsin, baiting is legal in some counties. If you're going to bait at the same time, the same way. If it's on a four-wheeler, in a truck, by foot, come in the same way. Don't wander. If you're accessing your tree stand, pick a route and absolutely stick to it.
Yeah, because you can totally Pavlov's dog is what we're talking about here. You can totally condition a deer if you're baiting the same time every day. You're consistent. They're going to recognize it, and especially with a feed source, baiting, feeding, whatever. The colder it gets. I think we talked about this last podcast, the more consistent they're going to be showing up.
And the riskier they're going to take. But still, if you hold on to that pattern, if you hold your consistency in your pattern on your access and you're in and out, they're going to create a pattern to avoid you.
Yep.
And you can almost predict.
Yeah.
And when you're on your dad's hunting preserve, that's exactly what happens. The whole system is designed about the wheeler coming up, dropping off the hunters, and the wheeler leaving. And
we even saw that today when we were driving out here. We drove out to one of the tree stands to check on something. We're driving the four-wheeler, used to the four-wheeler, and we were out a little bit late.
Yep. But we weren't.
Doe and a fawn standing in the food plot, and they just watched us drive up. And they went to moved if we went to stopped.
Yep, and they didn't bail until we got up, we parked the four-wheeler, and we started rustling around.
Yeah.
So, and a trick that I do like that you guys have showed me is leaving the four-wheeler running.
Huge deal.
So, the four-wheeler running to them is just kind of a hum.
Mm-hmm.
But cha-ching, cha-ching, metal hitting, that's
masks putting the bullets in, and masks climbing into the stand. If you got a noisy ladder, And then we always leave the four-wheeler running, and if the person doing the dropping off sits there and waits until you got your heater started,
Yep.
you got your gun loaded, out of the case, your gloves off or on or whatever you're doing. Yep. You're sitting, you're ready, you don't have to move. And then you give the four-wheeler a thumbs up or blink the light at them, whatever you do.
Yep.
And the four-wheeler leaves.
Yep.
And now you can see deer right away.
Yep.
And of course, no talking. Don't ever talk. Don't talk. There's no way to put it other than that. Yep. It's just not a good idea.
But if you're consistent with your access and you condition these deer to however you do, you don't have to do a four-wheeler. You don't have to get dropped off. That's okay, and some people don't have that ability. But be consistent with your stuff. They'll become consistent. You can pattern them, and you can have a better opportunity to harvesting them or understanding how you're going to harvest them.
Yeah.
So
they're very easy to condition. We had a buck one time. When Dad first started deer farming, he would go pour out 5-gallon pails of feed. And then he'd pour out the 5-gallon pails, bang the pails together, and he'd leave. And after about 2 months of doing this, he'd go out and just bang the pails, and the buck would come. Like, oh, it's time to eat. Pails banged. Doesn't matter what time of day it was. He heard that sound. He recognized that's the dinner bell. It's time to eat. So with that in mind, you could theoretically, if you're allowed to feed in your county, feed the deer all summer, do something similar. Bang the pails, ring a bell, whatever. Do something every time. And now they know that food is there.
Yep.
Then, when you go hunting, try that noise again. You might have deer come running.
Yep. And, a point to the access thing, we talked about how we get to the big food plot and how we can get to the north end. My other micro plot, which is where I shot that 8-pointer last year. If you go up to the big food plot, it's straight up the hill, a left, and then I'm at the blind. The north end is a straight shot till you walk to the ladder. Super easy.
Yeah.
But the micro plot where I shot that 8-pointer is this winding. You come up, you take a right, you wind, you go around this big tree, you go up, and then you go down, and then you have to take a right, and it's this big winding. And the reason for that is I had a buddy walk that trail as I stood on the big food plot. And I said, I had him on the phone, and I said, I'm going to take some ribbon, and I want you to mark. And when I see you, I'll say stop. So he went out to the trail. He started walking. I went, see you. And he stopped. He backed up a little bit and went. And why it winds like that is because I kind of stay between these natural crevices in the elevation. And I kind of, a coulee or whatever you want to call this little ravine area. But it winds with the natural grade of the property. But I can't stand on that big food plot and see me access. So if I decide to hunt that micro plot, that's where I want to sit tonight. And let's just say there's 5 deer out in the big food plot, and I'm hoping they migrate down to the micro plot and then go bed.
Yeah.
They can't sit there and see me.
No.
And I designed that one, and that's not a convenient walk.
No,
it's
not at all.
It's not the fastest way there. It's not the straightest way there, but it is the way that, based on where I think these deer are going to be, I can access without being spotted. Let's just say they're out there. That's why I did that. And it took a little bit of work. It took a buddy to mark it, and it took a process, but sometimes the best access is straight. Sometimes the best access isn't straight. You gotta trick them that way. Every
situation is different. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're designing your access, and I think we covered just about everything there. We got...
Yeah, sure.
Oh, there's a lot. But
we could talk about it all day.
We could. But it's getting late. We'd like to do one more tonight, maybe?
Yes. Yep.
So that is going to be it for this episode of Lessons of the Woods. If you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Send us an email at 10pointwhitetails@gmail.com. And we are, again, sponsored by Wallhanger Taxidermy of Cable, Wisconsin. And I think that's it.
Episode 7, 8. You said you weren't going to say the numbers.
We're not doing numbers anymore.
Great.
I'll put it. I can tell when I'm uploading them.
Sure.
But prior to that, I have no idea. So, anyway, if you made it to this far, thank you for watching. Lessons of the Woods comes out every Friday at 7 p.m. unless something drastic happens and I don't get it up. But I'm trying to stay consistent. So, thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back next week.